Hey YouTube friends, we're live. I'm just getting live on Instagram here now, and I'm going to let everybody know the link to stream me live on social media. You know the drill. I feel like it may require some patience, but good to see you. Uh, Thank you for being here. Link will do things that are maybe theoretically interesting. So drink some beer, play some tapes, and maybe talk about the state of heavy metal. Jesus fucking Christ, right? Okay. So let's see. Posting. Oh my God, I am jealous. We got on Instagram. I've already got somebody, my friend Megan, saying I'm high and eating croutons in bed. That sounds like a good life. So that sounds good. Croutons are totally a meal. They're a good meal too. You should. You're setting an example for us all. All right. I'm totally scatterbrained. I got a beer, but I didn't get a mug, so I'll be right back. I'm gonna drink this dog beer. There we go. And yeah, croutons are a meal. I was actually thinking I've been so hungry today. I I'd been living off bags of popcorn, uh, but I forgot to get more popcorn. But there's this amazing bagged popcorn. It's got like the Buddha on it, and it's got like coconut oil cooked in with it. It is unreal. And thank you for the compliment on my wallpaper. It's all Autumn's design. Autumn, my girlfriend, obviously, if you are watching and somehow don't know, is a way better uh, pick at these things. Very stylish, very creative, clever person. So let's put on some music. We're gonna start with a tape. It's a split tape from Contrepoisson and Vatican Shadow. This split is. Does it have a name? I feel like it has a name. Yeah, the serpent carries him back into paradise. It says. We're gonna start with the Contrepoisson track because it is incredible. Make sure we're on the tapes. And then I'll pour some beer. And if anybody wants to join me, if you're watching on YouTube at least, let me know, and you can be my friend. There we go. I mean, you're always my friend, but and usually I'd show you more. There isn't a whole lot more to show here. It's just some tape design. You can see some spooky boys. I just like that this is like kind of stompy, gothy cowboy stuff from a guy who usually makes black metal, I want to say. So, and noise. Anyway, time for a beer. Today's beer is called Dogs Can't Look Up. It's a sour IPA. It's from a local brewery called Non Sequitur, and they're awesome. Ooh, I've been asked about popcorn sweet or salty or both. Salty is probably better, but this sweet, like the kettle corn type stuff, that's a little sweet and salty, is dangerous, and I will eat. If you give me a pound of it, I would eat a pound of it. It's not right. Shouldn't be legal. Right? Alright. Just having a beer, playing some One Man Dark Wave stuff. All right, we got our friend Jose. Good to see you. Uh, cheers. Good to see you all, for that matter. This is interesting. It's got like that kind of funky, almost, hops will do it, that kind of weed-like nose, but it's not. There's also that tropical fruit kind of mango thing going. And there you go. Yeah, sour IPA. Much more on the sour side than IPA side. Like there's a little bit of that juiciness from the hops, but it's not overwhelming. Not too much. If you're watching this and you're having a beer, let me know what you're drinking. Let me know what you're eating too. I appreciate the tidbits about the popcorn and croutons. So on YouTube, I've been told buttery popcorn is wrong. I don't know the last time I had butter on popcorn, but like that stuff with, again, that fancy popcorn I got with coconut oil, like it's just the right amount of like kind of an oily savory without it being overwhelming. It's the perfect kind of hunger abating snack. Sometimes you don't really need a meal or anything. You're just like, oh, I'm feeling, I need something. And even though I've got like, right now we got like apricots and bananas and stuff. Like those are great snacks, but for some reason sometimes the salty snack just does it in a way that nothing else does. I mean, I remember being a kid and knowing I had so much room left in me and opting to have a second serving of our savory dinner instead of saving room for dessert. So I'm just that kind of a person. I love my sweets, but I like rich things more than I like sweet things, I think. And sometimes some kinds of sweet are rich too, but So how's everybody's day been? Hopefully all right. Today's the first day in a long time that wasn't a million fucking degrees here in Brooklyn. Maybe it's can't say about where everybody is, but I'm hoping that for you it's also nice weather. Hello. We got lovely greetings. Hi. Um, it's nice to have friends. Are you all doing okay? It's been over a month since George Floyd was killed, and that really changed the tone of things, which were already pretty grim because of the pandemic. And to be fair, the act of his killing was disgusting, but I'm glad for the uprisings that were well overdue since then. A million degrees in Portugal, that doesn't surprise me. Although I gotta say, Portugal is like a dream. I keep thinking about how if I got out of the United States, like maybe I'd go there. I don't speak Portuguese yet, but and it's raining most of the day in Liverpool. It's been raining a lot here on and off, but it's been like it'll be a thunderstorm for an hour and then it'll go back to being sunny. It's very inconsistent, very humid. It's wretched, really, but today was at least a little more forgiving. Yesterday it was just monstrous thunderstorm. I am not fond of it. If you follow me on Twitter, you might have seen I posted that I'm like a dog. I'm afraid of thunder and fire. Not fireworks. The fireworks I don't like, but I'm not afraid of that. I'm afraid of thunder and vacuum cleaners. Only when somebody else is operating it. If I'm running the vacuum, I can control it, and it doesn't bother me. But yeah. And so Richard, Eon lost. Is it Eon or Aeon? I never know how to pronounce that word. But it's good to see you. The tape is a split cassette from Vatican Shadow and Contrepoisson, or Contrapoison. I don't speak French, but I figured out how to pronounce the one word. That was the Contrepoisson side, and now we're going to listen to the Vatican Shadow side. Because I enjoy it. I have a black metal tape selected for today, but I feel it's easier to talk over stuff like this, where it's both, you can pay attention to it, but it can also serve as more of a backdrop. Whereas when you have, something that really is like an assault on the senses in a way, uh, that commands more attention. And if you're fighting for attention with the music, well, something's going to lose. And I'd rather be me, to be fair, but you know, boy, I got a lot of European viewers today. I mean, I know that. Uh, yeah, no, I guess maybe I'm not pronouncing it right because it's contra poison. It's like an antidote, I think. Uh, it's just one S, but I think it's pronounced poison. You know, I don't know. I speak Spanish, and that is, I think, a much more intuitive language for me than French is. Although French is beautiful, there's a lot of those secret silent letters and things that don't follow the way they do in English, at least. And you got all the, I mean, the X that is silent is easy for me because I'm just like, oh, it's an X, I ignore it. But certain other French conventions, I think, are more challenging. I'd still love to learn to speak it one day. I mean, maybe it's just because I'm a writer, or maybe it's because I'm a nerd. I don't know if every writer has the aspiration, but like I would love to learn as many languages as I can. I took a class in Mandarin when I was a teenager, and the school canceled it after one semester. But it was a really fun semester. But there were only 3 students in the class, and I think that it was a waste of their time to pay a teacher to do that. But I really liked learning Chinese. Their logic was that one day you'll need it for business, which is hilarious because I just wanted to learn it because I thought it was cool. I'm not a business person. And I think there's a lot of uncertainty in my future because here I am in my 30s with no idea what I want to be when I grow up. But I can safely say I'm never going to be a businessman. Like, that's fucking out of the question. But yeah, and language. But yeah. Closing some of this on my computer in case the streaming is impacted by it. There we go. Yeah. Can you guys hear that all right? Because I can't hear what you hear, but beautiful stuff. Good, surprisingly good bass frequency coming through for a cassette tape, right? And today's episode may not be as long as some of the other ones I do because it's a tough day, and to be fair, I'm not feeling physically my best. But I said I was going to do this, and I'm going to do it for at least a little while. I made the commitment, so we're doing it for half an hour, maybe minimum. But yeah, there's been a lot of talk in the metal world about the band False. Rightly so. Although, it's very concerning and upsetting stuff. And I have a lot of thoughts and a lot of things to say, but I'm not sure if they're for me to say. And yeah, German seemed like an interesting language. I'd like to learn German as well at some point, but it's very punchy, and at least I understand what I'm seeing when I look at it. Although I'd be horrible at the pronunciations, I imagine. And yeah, God, a lot of you folks in the UK watching, glad to have you here. But yeah, it's late. I wouldn't even be awake past 11. And if I had a job to go to, I'd probably not be drinking at all on a weeknight. But yeah, obviously, for those in the metal world, the band False is broken up because of sexual misdoings. I believe sexual assault, but I don't know the exact nature, committed by one of the members. And rather than kicking the one person out or doing the name and shame thing, the band broke up because it was a collective band, and they did the right thing. there's it, it's never easy when somebody has done something repugnant in any way. Uh, but I will say it is always easier, better in every way to support survivors. Uh, it can be really painful when somebody you care about, somebody you've done things with, somebody you've known for years has done something awful. But it feels a lot worse if you try to stand by and dismiss the suffering that somebody you love has caused. So I'm glad to see the band, standing against that. Next tape, because that tape was a short one. We're gonna listen to Fud Dud. Again, I can't pronounce it. I think it's no idea what language. I think the artist is Swedish, but good luck with this Cyrillic stuff. Uh, it's I I don't know, just really cool electronic music. And yeah, on Instagram, we get our friend Jose saying they did the right thing, which wasn't easy, and I agree wholeheartedly. I think I've seen some people who are not the survivor saying that they would like the band to do more. But one thing that I've learned is that oftentimes survivors have a very specific thing that they'd like done, and sometimes in going with the survivor's wishes, we can see an unintentional clashing with what the rest of the public might think is a good move. So I don't know enough about the situation directly, but I'm hoping that in a couple of days' time, we're going to know a little more about what's happened. Not about the act itself necessarily, but about, what is desired, what is going to happen moving forward, uh, so that accountability will be upheld. It's always disappointing when people that we respect do things that we could never abide. But I think it's a testament to the fact that when we it's something I really do have not a bone to pick with, but I have my concerns about fan culture and also liking artists because of their image or appeal rather than just enjoying the art. I think that these things, when you're a fan of something, when you center your identity around a band you like, or a politics of a band, it becomes easier to defend things that are not defensible. It becomes easier to say, "Oh, but so and so was so cool. There must be more to this," and it's not bad to feel conflicted when something atrocious has happened. It's not like your brain can just be like, "Oh, everything's changed." It takes a minute for a change to happen, but I think it's important to acknowledge what has happened and roll with the change and embrace it. Not that it's good and fun, but accept it. So I'm glad to see that False is elected to break up. I'm glad that they are putting the survivor first. It sounds like there may be more than one survivor, only one that was known to the band at this time. And, I just hope for the best for the person who suffered at the hands of this individual. And that's important. I don't have a whole lot more to say on that, but I think it's important that we put survivors first. And I thought it would be inappropriate for me, as a person who loves heavy metal and is involved and has been a strong advocate of that band and pushed them for years. I didn't feel it'd be appropriate for me to say nothing. So it's a real sad day. In a sense, but perhaps it's the beginning of a really good healing process for the survivor. That's my hope. Everything else, to hell with it. People saying the band should stay together and just kick out the one person, that's not for you to say. Like, shut the fuck up. So I'm hoping it's a step in a good direction. But yeah, it's been a hell of a Tuesday. Keep thinking today's Friday because it's been the longest week of 2 days between the shit weather and then the shit discourse and heavy metal today. But yeah, I think when we put bands on pedestals for being good people, that's a really complex thing, and I think assigning goodness or badness to things. I mean, certain things are very easy to categorically say are wrong and bad. When you look at a band that supports white supremacy, you can say, I have no need for this. There's no place for that. But sometimes, bands that are proponents of politics that you like, bands that stand for causes you like, can still, in their complexity as human beings, do bad things. So I think that's, it's important to be able to acknowledge, like, yeah, I liked this band because they stood for something I enjoyed, and they also happened to let me down there. And somebody on YouTube was mentioning Lost Prophets, and yeah, that's what I'm saying. I agree that that's not an exception to that. That's point proven. A band. I mean, because they seemed like a very harmless, almost cute side of rock band, and then they did something inexcusable. I think very much like Nazi acts, whether it's apologia or right supremacy. Pedophilia is something that has no fucking place anywhere, entirely indefensible. And I don't think that fandom would cloud anybody's mind on that. I'd hope not. But again, that's one of the things. Like, I'm sure there are people who were on the fan level that would have defended that. I don't think they were as big here in the States. It wasn't as much of a thing in terms of people caring about them. I think it was still very sad, heavy, and dark to think that any human could do that, regardless of their position as a musician or not. I liked Lost Prophets when I was a teenager. It's their first record, maybe second. I don't remember. But I don't think they were very well known over here. But that was a really disgusting, it's still sickening to think of it, scenario. And, that was vile. We've got all sorts of good people joining on Instagram. It's nice to see you all as close as I can get. If you're watching on YouTube, again, if you're on YouTube and you want to join on this video, let me know. I'd love to have a guest, but I don't need to have a guest. We're just drinking beers and listening to music and I guess discussing, how putting people on pedestals is bad for handling when they've done something wrong. As well, there are a lot of bands I love, but I try not to fall into fan culture with them. I have a tattoo of one band, and the two members of that band were dead before I got the tattoo, so they can't exactly do something that disappoints me. But even still, the Coil fan community, they annoy the living shit out of me sometimes, because people that like what you like are not necessarily going to be people who are like you. So I think it just makes sense that sometimes you're going to be like, oh god, these guys again. So I'm just finding out via YouTube commenter that the dude from Lost Prophets is out of jail. That's fucking disgusting. I assumed that he'd be, incarcerated for the rest of his life. That's really vile. That's disgust and sadness. He hurt a lot of people. Ew. I'm the prison system, at least as it stands here States. I know that there are other countries whose sense of justice is more rooted in reform, rehabilitation, and you know, and dealing with the roots of things. Like they seem to have a better things, but I don't have the answers. I just the way we treat people, especially almost exclusively, especially nonviolent offenders. Even that term, it feels weird. That term offender. Like, again, a lot of laws are actually rooted in public safety, but there are also plenty that seem to be rooted in protecting power. Fuck that. I'm not really concerned with the rich, and also people that commit white collar crime are the ones that get us in most of the social troubles that we have. So fuck them. Well, I've got at least one person here. Let's see. Does it tell me who's still watching? Yeah, one person in Brooklyn joined in. So, if you're in my time zone and can have a beer and are drinking one, let me know what you're drinking. Would love to share a drink with you guys. This is taken on a real somber tone. Not my intent, but also, it's really hard to. We can't turn a blind eye to things. I myself have, suffered is the wrong word. I've been abused in my life, physically and emotionally, by people who I loved and trusted. And I've never. I don't need to, talk about it, at least not in this format. But I think realizing the immensity and complexity of what one experiences going through that, it makes it really, really heavy to see some of the very casual discussion about such a serious thing. Boy, got some decent lighting today in here, at least. Especially considering that the sun has been behind a cloud this whole time. I've got surprisingly good light. I'm trying to think of what else is going on in the world. I've been very checked out lately because I've had 2 deaths in the family in the last 3 weeks, and then everything else has been happening. I've mostly been playing Zelda. Excuse me, been playing Zelda. I'm not proud of that, but also I'm trying to protect my sanity. So that's been nice. Let's see. The Kentucky Senate primary was interesting to pay attention to. I was very sad to see that McGrath is the Democratic nominee for Mitch McConnell's spot, and not Booker, because I think that he was a much stronger candidate. I'm still hoping, even though I'm not fond of McGrath, that fuck Mitch McConnell. I hope that I hope a lot of negative things towards him, but I hope that at the very least he stops having that he loses the Senate seat. I want to see him lose his political power. I want to see him lose everything, because he's done that and so much more to so many beautiful people. But yeah. What else is going on in the world? Not much, I guess. I wish Megan was still here in the chat, because I appreciated the story about just sitting in bed eating croutons for a meal. That sounds like a level of comfort with oneself that I've never achieved, although I strive for it. Seems healthy enough, right? I didn't pick any recent releases for today's tapes because, again, I wanted stuff that was kind of mellower to talk with. But I've been thinking about how tomorrow is the first day of the second half of the year, and I'm like, oh, what's? And I've been thinking about what are my standouts for the year. And there's so many. It's really for a year that's been marked by tragedy and this complete halting of activity in life for almost all this. It's been a surprisingly rich year for somebody who loves art. I can't even begin. I mean, that Axis of Light tape that's coming out soon, that it's on Bandcamp in full, that I reviewed it on my website the other day. If you read the site, you've seen that. And if not, you don't even have to visit my website. Just go visit the Axis of Light Bandcamp. It fucking rips. It's incredible raw black metal that's also triumphantly melodic. It's harsh but gorgeous. There's that new Ranzi Pazuzu. There's the new Couch Slut record. It's incredible. There's so much good shit out this year. It's really hard to keep track of. The Vulgarite album is incredible. From the same artist, Feminazgul, new album is great. So on YouTube, I'm being told, you think that we're looking down the barrel of 4 more years of Trump. That is a very real possibility. I do think that with some of the bungled pandemic response, some trust in him from even some of his more devoted fan base has dwindled. Joe Biden is not a terribly strong candidate for a lot of reasons. Even if you're not as far left as I am, which I don't think of myself as having terribly radical views, but then I realized that I'm to the left of Bernie Sanders. Even if you're not coming from my position, Joe Biden does not seem like he's going to be a winner, but obviously he's going to be more amenable to things that we as leftists would like. So given that the two people with an actual likelihood of assuming the presidency are Joe Biden and Donald Trump, I'm hoping that enough people can, get Biden in. So at the very least for, court appointments and all of that. Hard to say. If you're unenthusiastic about Joe Biden, I don't blame you. I'm not enthusiastic about him at all. I wasn't enthusiastic about Hillary Clinton, but obviously I would have rather seen her in office than this. We'll see. I'm actually, a couple months ago I was more convinced that we'd have another 4 years of Trump than I am today. But it's not like I feel like I have the answers. My political skills are none. I have street experience. I was radicalized as a teenager by an old man on the bus who had socialist pamphlets. I'm not kidding. And I did food not bombs and shit. That's about it. It's not like I've gone to school for politics. Anyhow, the Democratic Party are frightened of alienating the middle, and I would argue that's because they are the middle. They are not the left wing at all. In fact, they may even be right of center. They are. You look at Nancy Pelosi and her cowardice, as someone frame it, but really I don't think it's cowardice. I think that Nancy Pelosi does exactly what she intends to do, which is defend power, defend wealth. So, the Democratic Party isn't frightened of alienating the middle. They're frightened of alienating their donors. And, I don't know. I've never had more than like $5,000 in my bank account in my life, and that's usually because I think the time I did have that was because I had borrowed money to move across the fucking country. So I happened to have it in my bank account just long enough to rent a moving vehicle. Hello, we've got a another viewer on Instagram, our friend John. We're listening to Fod Dod. I have no idea what it is, how to pronounce it. FODAD-DOD with some umlauts over the O's. It's the fella, I think Fod Dod might be the guy who does the techno project Varg. I forget. I used to know if this was his or if there's it's either this or Ul Widnar is him. I forget. Anyway, this is more like kind of pretty ambient stuff. Came out on Total Black a few years ago, and I really like it. It's a fucked up world. Sometimes even the people who are ostensibly your allies are gonna let you down. So whether it's politicians or musicians or people that you know, doesn't mean everybody's gonna fuck up, or at least not immeasurably. We all fuck up, but some fuck ups are like, oh, you made a mistake, and some fuck ups are deeper than that. Some of them are what is the thing? Bugs versus features. I've been asked on Instagram what I'm drinking, so it's called Dogs Can Look Up. It's a sour IPA. It's got a little pug on it. I want to say the dog's name is like Nelson or something. It's like an actual dog that's on all of the beers from Non Sequitur. I think he's the owner's pug. He's a real cute dog. He's on their Instagram a lot. We're just hitting the time of day where it's actually hard for me to read this, so bear with me. It says, this puppy, oh, that's a corny way of phrasing it. This puppy is inspired by one of our favorite tiki drinks, the Zombie. Serve it in your finest tiki glass. Good enough. Cocktail umbrella is optional, but encouraged. They say the flavor is apricot, pineapple, and lime, which is kind of true. It had a little bit of that kind of skunky weed-like smell that sometimes really hoppy things have up front, but because it's soured, it's really not actually that bitter hoppy. It's juicy hoppy, and then it's got a little bit of that tartness. Way better than that Sour Monkey beer, which I still have one of that in the fridge. I'm gonna have to drink it at some point. I figure maybe on a day when I want to have a beer but don't want to do a video. That way, if I decide to pour it out halfway through, I can. All right. So. And there we are. Let's see, what's next? What are we listening to next? Okay. There we go. I can't fucking pronounce it. There. So for the folks on YouTube, Voemr Sombremar. I don't know how to say it. Voemmr. That's what we're gonna listen to now. Came out on Harvest of Death, and yeah, it's like that. So, kind of, a lot of bands call their music rituals. This is about as ritualistic as it gets. I don't know. I still think maybe corny, but interesting demo, interesting album, whatever it is. I like it. Is Dogs Can Look Up a Shaun of the Dead reference? I haven't seen Shaun of the Dead in years, probably 5-6 years. So I honestly don't recall. I know that pigs can't look up, but dogs can. I'm not sure. The other beer I had from them was called Same As It Ever Was, which was like, I'm assuming a Talking Heads reference, but maybe not. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. I feel like the Shaun of the Dead. What was the name of like the trilogy those did? Was it the Cornetto trilogy or whatever? I enjoyed those. I don't. I barely keep up with movies at all, but I enjoyed those. So you know. Uh, oh yeah, it's a beer based on the zombie cocktail as well. You know, it may well be. I'm gonna, in fact, I'm gonna take a second and use Google. That's right. They argued about whether dogs could look up or not. What was the third one in the Cornetto trilogy? Was that the pub at the end of the world or whatever the fuck it was? Uh, you know, where they drink, yeah, whatever it was. I don't remember finding it unenjoyable. I mean, it's hard to follow the first two movies in that trilogy, so like I'm gonna give them a pass. Like when you made two things, the Alien one. I don't know if I saw. Was that one? Here I am looking this up again. Oh yeah, no, the last one is the pub at the end, the world's end. There is an alien thing. I don't even remember the aliens. I just remember them going to pubs as the world ended. That shows you. I mean, again, I saw that when it was still relatively new. I think I saw it, 2015. That sounds about right. I saw it that year, which means I was 26. Uh, I remember having a fine time, but I was probably drunk too. You know. Yeah, I mean, obviously, nothing is ever going to beat Shaun of the Dead in that regard. I loved that film. I watched it twice, which, if you're me, is a lot. I don't watch anything, uh, let alone having a repeat viewing. Uh, I just, it's not a lack of patience, it's a lack of time, energy. I don't know. Hard to say. I just don't do movies really. Like, if I'm on my own, I will never watch a movie or a TV show. Uh, it basically has to be somebody has to say, "I'd like to watch this. Would you like to watch it with me?" And then I'll say, "Yes, of course I would." So, like with the pandemic, my girlfriend and I are watching a lot of documentaries because Autumn, my better half, is endlessly intellectually curious, and so she will look up a topic and see if there's a documentary on it because it's curious to her. So yesterday we watched this film called Cairo Drive, which is literally about traffic in Cairo, Egypt, and it was fascinating. It could have been an hour and a half longer, and I would have loved every minute of it. It was short. I want to say it was not even an hour and a half long. Just watching the class dynamics, the social dynamic, the nature of policing and traffic there, and social constructs in Egypt, a place I know very little about. It was really fucking interesting to me. So I guess it's good sometimes when people say, "Hey, do you want to watch this?" Because I'll always say yes. We watched about the community in Southern California that does crumping, the dance style. Learned about the voguing community here in New York, at least as of a few years ago. Uh, Watched a documentary about the Insane Clown Posse, not so good. probably made more for the fans than for those of us who are curious but not into it. Um, I don't know. So if you're watching this, and you have a good documentary to recommend to me, let me know. Because the only documentary I know of that I want to watch is the one about Old Dirty Bastard. I think it's called like Dirt. It's just a word or something like that. Because I love ODB and I'm interested in knowing more about him. I don't think he was a good person. It's not like that. I'm not like some sort of hero worship. Just, I'm interested in the complexity and whatever the hell they're going to say about him. But I've wanted to watch that for like a decade and I haven't yet, so who knows if I ever will. I'm trying to remember thinking about documentaries and then obviously heavy metal. Like I remember that Metal Headbanger's Journey or whatever. I don't remember if that was actually any good. I saw that maybe the year after it came out, and I didn't love it. Maybe I did. I don't even remember. I mean, it's been that long. What year was that? Like 2006? Let's see. Google is my friend tonight, apparently. 2005, yeah, so I saw it in 2006. That's a very long time ago. And I liked, Until the Light Takes Us. But, I think a lot of the characters in the Norwegian black metal community do the own job of digging their own grave. It just seemed like an absolute fucking clown. So, not on it as a film, but like some of the people are just so corny, which I think is important to know. Like, anytime you see somebody taking black metal super seriously as this dangerous transgressive art form, when you look at some of the star players of the classic era, and you realize like it's a bunch of fucking idiots, just like any metal scene in any shitty town. I grew up in a shitty town with a shitty metal scene. They're all libertarians now, for fuck's sake. And I think some of those guys are smarter than some of the guys in the Norwegian black metal scene. It's just terrifying to me, really. Yeah. Does anybody know any good beer documentaries? I know nothing about beer. I drink beer. I've been writing about it kind of for 8 years, but I know shit about beer. Maybe you got beer tips, throw them my way, because I don't know anything. Beer documentary tips specifically. We watched one documentary about the brewery that had its, fuck your hair anti-Trump beer. Was it 5 Rabbits or something? Rabbits, some number of rabbits. 3 rabbits, 5 rabbits, don't know. That was a really short documentary, but it was interesting. But it wasn't about the beer so much as the nature of going against Trump as a corporation and human being before he was even the fucking president, because he's just saying dumb shit on the campaign trail, It was an interesting documentary, but I'm always up for more beer stuff. I probably think about beer more than I drink beer. I think I've had this beer today. Last time I had a beer was last time I filmed a video. I'm trying to lose weight in quarantine, not gain it. That's right, John, you're in the right city for that. I've wanted to try them so badly, especially after seeing it, but also like, it wasn't just because they made a fuck Trump beer, which is cool on its own. Like their brewing approach sounded fascinating to me, really. I love a good dunkel. I don't know. So that sounds really good. One day when the world isn't like this, I'm gonna come to Chicago, and John, you and I are gonna have that beer. Hopefully more than just one of the beer. Maybe we'll go to like Kuma's or something. I don't know. I don't know what there is to do. I know nothing about Chicago. It's just like another city that's not quite the same city I'm in. And I know that you have food culture. Like, it's a city. The beer temple. I will go to the beer temple. That sounds like a good place to go. I worship at that altar regularly myself. Yeah, that's oh, we got another Instagram person. Hello. If you're watching on Instagram, I'm doing this on YouTube and Instagram at the same time because it's just connecting with people. So bear with me and thank you. And my vision is horrible. Oh, it's Ryan. Hello. Really good to see you. I'm gonna send you a message soon. Want to catch up and talk. So I'm being told that the Beer Temple in Chicago is a bottle shop and limited tap room with an amazing selection of rare craft beers. That sounds great. I feel like it's interesting, and I'm sure I just don't know where to go as much yet. But when I lived in shitty Tampa, Florida, I had better access to more interesting beer than I do in New York City. Because in Florida, you're only going to have a couple of options to find beer anyways. You were going to find the good stuff. Whereas in New York, there's a million bars, there's a million places to buy beer that are not even bars. And inevitably, say if we're going directly to the breweries, it's harder to figure out where is your place if you're a beer geek. So I haven't figured out my bottle shop. There's a lot of great local breweries, and I'm not disparaging those in any way. But as far as finding stuff distributed from elsewhere, the only bar I know of is 124 Rabbit in the city. Go make dinner, go have fun. Thanks for tuning in. I know a bar or two that specializes in good craft beer, but like I'd love to go somewhere and bring things home that are not just IPAs. Like the great thing about New York is that even your bodega is going to have some interesting good beer, but it's probably going to be an IPA. I don't hate IPAs. They're oversaturated. So I'll go to the bodega and they've got maybe 6 different kinds of craft beer in addition to their large selection of 12 packs. And that's great that they have 6 craft beers. But when it's all pale ales and IPAs, it doesn't leave me as a beer geek a lot of room to experiment. I've been grateful during the pandemic to find a couple local breweries that deliver or ship their beer, as the one I'm drinking is. But I do miss living somewhere where I could, like, the Whole Foods in Tampa, where I worked there. I had incredible beers like distributed there. And Other Half beer, I've had 2 beers from Other Half, and they were both IPAs. They were both exceptional for the style. I'd be intrigued to see more of what they do. Also, I didn't have any of them until like pandemic. Other Half is really an incredible brewery. So I'm not trying to disparage them at all. But also, I don't know how easy it is for me to get them. I had a friend send me some, because being a person with an autoimmune disease, I am not going out, even though things are starting to open up a bit. If I can't get it sent to me or delivered, I'm not getting it, whatever it may be. Could be food, could be my laundry, could be beer. If it's not coming to me, I'm not coming to it. It's just not worth the risk for myself or others. So far, I've gotten beer delivered from Non Sequitur here and Suarez family and Interboro. Interboro? Boro? I don't know. They're all good. Gonna place another Interboro order real soon because I really like them. Also, they're close to me, so that makes it easier too. It's like, oh yeah, you're in the neighborhood. Other Half might be doing local delivery. I have not looked into that as much. Because with them at least, I'm looking this up right now. I looked up if they were delivering when this first began, and there was no delivery from anywhere yet. But okay, I'm gonna move the phone portion so I can read this. Yeah, it looks like other half is doing local delivery. Today was the delivery day for that beer. Oh, they require quite a large amount of beer. You have to get 6 4-packs, which maybe not in my income bracket right now, but it's some good stuff. Yeah, that's going back on my list of things to order from soon. I'm trying to cycle it so that I'm still having a diverse, interesting array of beers coming in as I go. Keeping it as good as I can. I'm also trying to use this time to experiment with breweries I haven't tried yet. There's one that a friend of mine mentioned, actually, who I interviewed on here maybe a month ago. My friend Courtney, who runs the Highway to Hops Instagram account, she mentioned this brewery called Finback I really want to try. They have it's normally something I'd avoid, but she said it was actually good for the style. It was like a peanut butter banana stout, and I am all about that. That sounds great. And yeah, I bet the UK is really easy. It's weird how so many alcohol restrictions changed the second we got a pandemic here. Uh, like suddenly all these weird puritanical alcohol delivery laws that we never had in the United States just went away once the pandemic occurred and they realized people couldn't go to the bar. Uh, I wonder why they're there. Oh, got another friend here on Instagram. Hello, good to see you. Neil, nice to see you. Uh, yeah, there's some good beer you can get delivered here. So, for those just tuning in, we're listening to this kind of LLM sort of worshipping tape. This band called Voemr, Voemmr. Uh, I want to say maybe they're from Portugal. I don't know. Looks like that. And so on Instagram, we got our friend Neil saying it's almost like the rules aren't based on objective truths. Yeah, shocking. Uh, I feel like almost every time I stream now, I'm mentioning how laws exist to protect power, not people, most of the time, and I hate that I even have to keep coming back to that. Uh, but between the police themselves, the laws they uphold, they live in a fucking unjust world, and that comes as a surprise only to people who've been living a really blessed, cherished, privileged existence. I think the word privilege is ridiculous in a lot of contexts, but in this, it's a fair critique. If you don't think that the cops are bad, if you don't think that the laws are bad, maybe that's because you're one of the few people that are there to help. Farhad, good to see you. I know you're going to ask, so we are drinking from Non Sequitur. Dogs can look up sour IPA. It's pretty alright. Instagram has given me a minute countdown because I've been streaming for an hour. So with that ending, I'll probably let this go on YouTube too. You're missing some keeping you all here. But thanks for being here, hanging out with me on this gloomy day, listening to this gloomy music and drinking a beer. I hope that someday soon we can all drink beers together in real life. Wouldn't that be something? I mean, I've had friends in this cast today, here, Chicago, the UK, Portugal, Colorado, California. Nevada. I'd love to go to all those places. I mean, I live in an amazing city, and I, would love to get out of it. I haven't really left my apartment in months. That's weird. Anyway, Instagram says 10 seconds left, so peace out, Instagram. It's been real. There we go. We're gonna share that to IGTV. And YouTube friends, the lighting is getting dim, and I'm not turning on the overhead lights. They make me look orange. Uh, so thanks for being here. Thanks for hanging out. Gonna do this again on Friday, and then hopefully by next Tuesday I'll get back to having guests. I've got a lot of people in mind who I'd like to invite. It's just a matter of like, it feels really inappropriate to excessively promote things. What with the state of the world, so we'll see. Uh, anyway, thank you all for being here. You're all wonderful. If you like what I'm doing and want to see more of it, you can subscribe on YouTube. You can throw me some cash on Patreon because I don't work. I just collect disability checks. But you don't have to. There's a pandemic on, and we're all fucking broke. Uh, the most important thing is to be good to each other. So take care of your fellow humans. Take care of yourself. And I'll see you in a few days. Black Metal and Brews. Cheers. Ow. Yeah. Take care. Bye now.